City in contact with Grealish. Zuma has options. Sassuolo set Locatelli deadline. Isco to stay put, and the transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers, and this is the Daily News. So first up, and Jack Grealish is edging ever closer to Manchester City. That is because the two clubs and the player are now in direct contact with each other over a potential move. That is according to transfer guru Fabrizio Romano, who yesterday weighed in on the whole Jack Grealish saga by saying that Manchester City are offering him a deal as we speak. Now, this has been quite a long-running saga. It seemed clear even before the end of the season that Grealish was destined for a big move. Manchester City had a place for him and they were going to offer the big money as well. Apparently, the base of the fee is going to be around £88 million, with a few add-ons that takes over £100 million and makes him the most expensive Premier League signing of all time. Now, Aston Villa, regardless of the money they're going to receive, have got a bit of money by fact they play in the Premier League and really don't want to lose their captain, so they're planning to offer him a brand new deal to take his wages up to £200,000 per week, even though he only signed a new deal last summer to ward off interest from, you guessed it, Manchester City again. They're back a year later and doesn't matter what Aston Villa offer. Manchester City can offer more. They can offer him a place in a better team and offer him the chance of playing Champions League football, something he has never done and realistically he may not be able to do with his boyhood club. Despite the fact that Jack Grealish apparently has a few worries about whether or not he'll be getting regular game time under Pep Guardiola, I'm sure that is all to be discussed in the next few days, and that is when it looks like the deal could be happening. Pep Guardiola now seems to be in a little bit of a rush and wants to get his Manchester City squad completed and all put together before the start of the season, and that for Manchester City happens next weekend as they kick off the 21-22 campaign with the Community Shield against FA Cup winners Leicester. Of course, the week after that they also head to North London to take on Tottenham, and they'll be hoping that Harry Kane turns out for them and not for Spurs, but that deal looks a little bit more complicated than the Jack Grealish one. Moving on though, and to Kurt Zouma. In the last 2 days we spoke about Chelsea bidding for Jules Koundé, not bidding the total amount that Sevilla wanted in his release clause, but bidding a little bit less money and offering Zouma in a swap deal. Turns out the French defender doesn't want to be used in a swap deal, and too right. He's sticking up for himself and says he wants to stay in the Premier League and stay in London specifically, and West Ham have caught wind of this and offered 20 million for the French defender. This, in my opinion, will be a very good deal. Chelsea are getting a little bit of money. I mean, 20 million is not a massive amount for Chelsea as a club, but they're still getting some money for a defender who, let's face it, is a bit of a backup. He started under Frank Lampard quite well last season, and then since Thomas Tuchel came in, he completely lost his place in the side, being on the subs bench for the FA Cup final defeat to Leicester and the Champions League victory over Manchester City. Anyway, they get a bit of money. West Ham get a very, very good defender, and Zouma gets his wish of staying in London and staying with Premier League football. And when you look at how West Ham finished last season, there's no reason to think they can't go on and be even better this time around, especially adding a quality defender like Kurt Zouma to the mix. Whether or not this will affect the Jules Koundé deal, I don't actually think so. I think Chelsea could offer another defender, and if not, they'll probably up the money and get closer to the amount of money that Sevilla want for their defender. Next up, and Sassuolo Chief Executive Giovanni Carnevali has said that Juventus can come and get Manuel Locatelli because he wants to go and they want to sell him, but only for the right price, and they're going to have to move quickly. Now, the midfielder was part of this Italian side that won the Euros this summer, of course, and because of that, he's on a well-deserved break, but he's returning to Sassuolo training before the new Serie A season on Monday, and they want to make sure that everything is sorted pretty much by then. That is why he's put out a little bit of a plea to Juventus to come and get the man that they want, because he wants to go as well, and he doesn't really want it affecting the Sassuolo preparations for the new campaign. As for Juventus though, they aren't exactly willing to pay what Sassuolo want. The club want around 40 million euros for their midfielder, but Juventus are only willing to pay, I think it's 20 million with their first year loan of about 5 million, then the 20 million, then 7 million in add-ons, adding it all up to around 32 million by my math, 32 million euros for the midfielder, which is still quite a good deal, but on the other hand, Sassuolo know they've got a real gem of a player. On top of this, there are a few other clubs interested. Apparently, there's one unnamed Premier League club who are interested in him, and also Arsenal have made a bid as well, which was rejected. Despite this though, when I think Juventus still will get the deal over the line eventually, there is some good news coming from the old lady, as Giorgio Chiellini said yesterday that he expects to sign a new deal with the club. The 36-year-old was so busy winning the Euros with Italy that his contract actually expired, but I don't really think there's too many who are going to offer him anything better than staying at his current club. Next up though, and we move on to Isco. And it's a rather interesting deal because apparently he's going to stay put now. We mentioned Fabrizio Romano earlier talking all things transfers yesterday, and he has completely quashed the rumours that Isco is on his way to AC Milan. Now, there were some reports yesterday coming out of Italy that AC Milan were willing to pay 5 million euros net for Isco's services, but he still wants 7 million, and not only is that too much for him to make any transfer, even to the likes of AC Milan, but it's also too expensive for Real Madrid to offer him a new deal as well. His demands are literally keeping him out of a transfer and out of the team. He's got 1 more year left on his Real Madrid contract, and if he stays at the club, which I'm sure Ancelotti will be happy to have him, he'll probably just play another bit part role and really won't fit into this Real Madrid side moving forward. So honestly, I mean, this is just me talking. If I was him, I'd go ahead and move to AC Milan. Yeah, why not? I mean, they've got a bit of a hole in their squad after losing Hakan Çalhanoğlu, 2 arch rivals, into Milan, so Isco could go and fill the void quite well. I mean, he's still a quality player. He's still not even that old. I'm not even sure he's 30 yet, and he can do a very good job only if he lowers those wage demands. Anyway, after all of that, like I mentioned, Fabrizio Romano said it's not going to happen. There are no talks between the two clubs at the moment, and in fact, Brahim Diaz has actually joined AC Milan again from Real Madrid, so maybe they're going to go with the younger option too, and Isco will just sort of float along nicely, picking up a paycheck and not really playing much football. Finally then, a quick round-up of the rest of today's transfer news that you might have missed, and Joe Hart looks like he may be leaving Tottenham after just 1 season, with Celtic pushing to sign the former England goalkeeper. Elsewhere, and talking of goalkeepers, Alphonse Areola has become the new #1 at West Ham. On top of this, Karim Benzema seems to have played his way into a new contract at Real Madrid, which will run until 2023, and after just 1 year at Liverpool, Kostas Tsimikas looks like he'll be leaving the club. They want to get rid of him permanently, but Napoli only want to take him on a loan deal. That's all from me then. Check out everything else we've got going on. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys later.